Hi, it's December 30th, 2017, and we're here in Surfview in Phoenix, Arizona. Today what we're doing is we're building a hugelkultur, and then last year, we did the same type of thing, so I'll show you how it's going. This right here is the broccoli, and I grew it about a year and a half ago. I set this bed up, and you can see it's doing pretty well. Got some different kinds of onions and rosemary. And then this bed I set up back April of 2017. It's basically a hugelkultur, Arizona hugelkultur. So I did a third of this, and I'm going to dump a bunch of wood chips on it. And then this one I just did today. So what I'm doing is I removed about 8 to 12 inches of dirt and rocks. And then you can see all of the rocks. And then way over there, over all of these rocks. And then I put all of the soil in a big old pile underneath. There's gravel, so that was the farthest away. But you get the basic idea from last year that I do the raised beds, but without doing any wood. I just move the gravel. And you can see the first time I did this, I didn't remove that much dirt. It's still doing very well. And then this next time I removed more dirt. And then this time I removed even more dirt. And so then what we're going to do today is I'm going to put down some cardboard. Then I'm going to put down some of these, I've got some moringa growing here. There's my little baby moringa. See it right there? And there's another one. This one's a PKM2. It's taken forever. But see, and then there's some rosemary. And then this here is a Etoy onion. It's an Indian onion. It's doing really well. But in any event, over here we are looking at all of these palm branches. Those are all going to go on top of the cardboard. So I'll show it to you in stages. We'll put the cardboard down next, and we'll film that. And then here's a ton of leaves. All of those leaves are going to go on top of the palm, these palm branches. And then that's a lot of leaves. And then we're going to put all that dirt back on top of there. We'll do some layering, so we'll mix up the dirt and the leaves. And then eventually I'll put a bunch of wood chips on top of both of these piles. I want to pile it really, really high with wood chips. Alright, so that's it. We'll see how it goes. Well, here we go. So now I've got all the cardboard in place. And the basic idea here is we're just going to try to trap moisture. So the next step you'll see is the palm branches. So you get more, that'll be the next phase. But that's underneath it all. That'll be collecting a lot of the moisture and protecting weeds from coming up, but I doubt there'll be many weeds. But as you can see, my neighbor waters quite a bit, and the whole wall there is wet from their watering. So it naturally just comes down in and will water all my plants. So that's that. Looks like they've got some grapes right there. Look at that. We'll see if those last. Alright, that's it. Next phase, palm branches. So this palm tree here, that was the source of all of those palm branches. Basically, every time it gets close to the house, I cut it. So you can see that I'm ready to do some trimming, but I don't trim the front, so it protects it from the southern sun. But this big pile of palm branches that we had over here, those are all gone now. And where they are is in this Arizona Hugelkultur over here, number 3. And they're all laid out, overlapping. And they're ready for the layer of leaves. So let me show you what's going to happen with that. It's a bit controversial, but oleanders are supposedly poisonous to people. But they are not poisonous to fungi and bacteria. So I have all these leaves that fall over off of my neighbor's yard into my yard. And I'm going to rake those up and put them on top of all those palm branches. So that's the idea. That's what's next. And then we'll put the dirt on top of that afterwards. But I'm going to rake all this stuff up and put it on a tarp and then move it over there. So that's what you'll see next. Okay? Very good. All right, we made some progress. So right there is where the palm stuff used to be. And I think I already showed you that already placed. Then I scraped away all of the decomposed oleanders, the oleander leaves, which I was told by Seamus O'Leary's master gardener friend, George Smith or something, I think that was his name, that oleanders will decompose fine without killing people. Okay, it's January 2nd, 2018, on a nice warm 80-degree Arizona day. And then what we have is from last week, or a few days ago. I wanted to show you where we stand with the oleanders. I put a bunch of oleander leaves on top of in these piles. And there's quite a bit there if you look at them. And then next weekend I'm going to spread them out, and then see all this dirt that we got here? I'm going to mix that in there with it. But we see, look at all these rocks we've got here. We've got all those rocks that were pulled out. And we also have the ones that kind of just rolled off the top. And then we have some that are over here, because I didn't have enough space over there. So what I'm going to do is that once I mix in a lot of the dirt there, I'm going to make a pile along the cement edge there of the rocks. And then this stuff, this gravel that came off first, I'm going to put that over that. So between some of the dirt and all of these rocks, we're going to have like a raised bed made out of the rocks that were removed and the gravel that was removed. And then hopefully most all of this dirt will be mixed in with the decaying oleander leaves. And that'll be good. And I also have about 50 pounds of alfalfa pellets that I bought that has a ton of nitrogen. So I'm going to throw that in there with it. And we can make it decay quicker. In any event, that's it for now. And we'll add this coming weekend, we'll add the rest of this with the mixing of the soil with the leaves. And then we'll be preparing it for the wood chips. Big old monster pile of wood chips. As you can see, this area here is in dire need of more layers. And of course, the broccoli's doing real well. And so are these little onions. I really like these little onions. The Etoy onions. I've got a few of those growing. And no need to show you the slow growth of these, but nonetheless, it's pretty cool. It was about a quarter of the size 3 weeks ago. So, in any event, more next week. Good morning. It's Saturday, January 6th, 2018. And we got some work to do today. Here's the bed that we're working on last week. As you can see, we've got a bunch of oleander leaves all put in place. So the goal today is to rake the leaves, spread them out, and then I'm going to move the soil, all of this rock and stuff. I got to screen out all the rocks. And then we've got this high yield compost maker, which is interesting stuff, made by this company here. And basically what it is it's something that speeds up the decomposition of the stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread all of that, and then I'm going to clean out all these rocks out of here, and then spread the soil that's not the rocks on top of it. And then I'm going to build a wall out of all of these rocks here. See all these rocks? Those and these rocks are going to go down as a basis right along there. Then I'm going to spread, I mentioned I already spread the dirt on top of the leaves, and then I'll move the gravel on top of the rocks. And to complicate things just a little bit, I have a pail of alfalfa tea water. And what I'm going to do, I bought a 50-pound bag of alfalfa pellets. So what I'm going to do is, on top of the high yield stuff, I've got this standard brand alfalfa pellets. And let's see what it's got in it. It's got cultured alfalfa hay, molasses, and phosphoric acid. But what it is it's a great nitrogen booster. So we'll put a bunch of that in there to speed up the decomposition and improving the soil. So I'll show you the progress as we go, and we'll by the end of today we should have everything in place. And the goal is to be ready for the wood chips. We're going to be putting wood chips on both of these beds. That bed right there, and of course the new bed. And then we'll even be placing some wood chips over here. And I've got some debris there from last year, but I need to spread some wood chips. So that's it for today. Let's see how that work goes, okay? Check in later. All right, here we go. We're at the next phase. I raked off all of these I raked off all of the oleander leaves and I wetted them down real well. You can see that we're ready for the next step. And then according to this high yield compost maker, we're supposed to basically add a cupful for every 5-6 gallons of water. And that way I will go ahead and make 3 buckets full and then spread the liquid over the already saturated leaves. So that's the next step. All right, for this next step, we're going to put one huge, which is basically 5 handfuls of this alfalfa blend, alfalfa pellets, horse pellets, and Standard Bread is the brand. And here's the container I'm going to use. So that constitutes, okay, so that constitutes about 5 good handfuls, which is what I usually put in a 5-gallon container. And I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do it to all 3, and then I'm going to soak it full of water and let them dissolve. And then just like with the compost accelerator, I'm going to spread each one of these out for about 3 cubic feet of material. And for me, that's like 4 bricks, 4 blocks. So that's where we are so far. It's been drenched. The compost maker's been put on there. And now we're going to soak these pails full of alfalfa pellets and water, and then pour that tea on a little bit later. Okay, thanks. All right, we've mixed up the alfalfa pellets and they're about ready to be spread. Here's what the buckets look like. All right, so now we have the alfalfa pellets spread around. So I soaked them. You can see all that green there. And then I'll move that around a bit with the rake when I put the sand and dirt on top. So the next step is to strain the dirt. You can see that I've got rocks in the back there. I don't want those in the pile, in the sand pile, so I'm going to have to screen those out as I go. So we'll see in a few minutes my screening process. All right, here we are again. It's the 13th of January 2018. And we're trying to finish up this hugelkultur bed. And I've worked on what we're going to do today is we're going to take this pile of dirt here and we're going to screen it and then put it in place. So you can see that we've got a ways to go. But what we have new today is this new arrangement where I've got the 2 garbage cans over there, and it'll fall that way. I don't have to put it in a trash can and then dump it. It'll go directly where it's supposed to go. And I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier. So we made a little progress last week. Then of course it rained like crazy one day. But today we're going to get rid of this pile, hopefully. And then we're going to build a wall using these rocks. We're going to put them along on top of the cement. You see a bunch of other rocks over there. And then we got all these little rocks that we've pulled out, and those are going to go with the big rocks. And with the very final tail ends of the dirt, very clayish dirt, we are going to build kind of like what we did over here. You can notice over the years I started taking more dirt out, so I've got the raised bed part, my free wall from the gravel and dirt. It's going to be mostly rock, but the extra clay dirt will make it more of a cement. So that's the idea. So hopefully so I got a bunch of digging to do, and we'll see if we can make some progress today and maybe finish up this wall, but maybe not. All right. It dawned on me that you guys weren't seeing the kind of rocks we captured, but basically this is the idea, is that there are all these rocks. This is one of those old pet dividers to keep pets out of your laundry room. In any event, these are about the size of the rocks that are being caught, and then down below you can see it's just mixed with smaller stuff that falls through, better for the roots. So I just thought I'd show you. It works pretty well, and the fact that I've got the garbage cans means I don't have to empty a garbage pit thing, which was a little bit tough on the handles. So I can just shake it and then dump it off to the side and put the rocks down below here, which later on I'll rake once I get these bigger rocks in place for the wall. Okay. All right. Well, we're making progress. You can see that I've got this row cleared out, and I've also removed the rocks. See the rocks? I've pushed them over to the other side. So I probably have a bunch of scoops of dirt left here that this is called a Hugelkultur, but the Hugel stands for mound. And after I've removed all these rocks and dirt, and even added all of the cardboard and palm branches and put some of the dirt back, it's actually lower than the cement here. So what we have to do is to get all this dirt, or at least all of it that's not rocks and gravel, back in here, and then I get a screen more. So I've been putting on some music and making some progress, and then once I start hitting too much gravel like this, then I'm going to have to just punt and put the rocks in place and finish her up. This thing has to end one of these days. So here we go. All right, we're at the next phase. I pretty much removed all the dirt I could here. You can see I started hitting gravel. And for what dirt is left, that will make good, the clay will make good for the cement-ish stuff that goes with all the rocks. So the next phase, we'll see the rocks in place. All of these. And there's a guy, a
Austrian or Russian guy who came up with a thing called TRIZ, T-R-I-Z, like tricks are for kids, but a Z instead of an X. And he basically had these 40 ways of improving a process. So what I've done here is if initially I said, well, what am I going to do with all that gravel that I removed? I could put it on the parts of my yard. But about a year ago, I decided to just use it for the raised bed. And so and I did it again last year, or early April. And then this year, I found so many big rocks. And I said, well, why don't I use those as part of the wall? And so I'll mix the gravel and the other rocks that I pull out and make the bed wall instead of, I never did fool around with boards and stuff. But it's all using the supplies that are readily available. And what would I do with that stuff anyway? So that's the goal, is to just reuse these rocks, these big boulders. So I'm going to put all those in place. Then I'm going to rake these other rocks, the medium baby size ones, and then I'll put those in place. Then I will rake the gravel and clay, kind of like this one. And once that gets wetted down through the rain and through time, it'll just be kind of like this mound right here. Except it will have big rocks holding it together underneath. So that's the theory. So that's the next step. We'll see all the big rocks in place. All right, that didn't take too long. Removed all of the rocks that were over here, all the big rocks, and all the ones that were near my RV gate, and I put them all in place. So the lesson is, you never know. I mean, if you look at these rocks, all of these were in the bed. And so when I had the pickaxe, I was bumping into all of these things. How do you ever schedule time? How much time is it going to take to get that out? You never know till you start digging. And then once I started doing my screening, look at all of the smaller rocks that I screened out. I'll show you here. So I think that's kind of a cool foundation, don't you think? All of those big rocks. Then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to rake the medium rocks over the big rocks. Then I'm going to rake the clay soil over all of that. And then the far back end is the gravel level, the initial gravel level that I pulled out. It looks more like this. So what you'll should see is kind of like a wall with a cascading slope that goes up to it, kind of like this. But the peak should hold because of the rock foundation. So I got some raking to do. But the next step is that you'll see all of the medium rocks in place. All right. All right, that didn't take too long. I first said I was going to be doing some raking of the rocks. Well, I didn't realize how many of those small rocks I had in there. Look at this. So when you painstakingly saw me painstakingly screening out the rocks, these are the little guys that I was pulling out. And they had fallen to the far side of the pile there. And so when I said I was going to rake them over, it took a lot more than raking. I had to shovel them. I raked the final bits. So the next I will probably do with all shovel work and move the top of the pile and rake the gravel above it. I don't think I need to put that into 2 phases. I'll just do it all at once here on January 13th, 2018. The goal today, before I go over to my cousin's housewarming party, is to get this wall in place and get ready for the wood chips, which will be a future video. Okay? So that'll be the next step, is to see the finished wall before watering. All right. That's a lot of work. But let me show you the finished thing. Finished before the wood chips come. So you can see that we took a lot of material out. That's why it's a lot lower. It's supposed to be Hugelkultur. Hugel meaning mound. But that's nothing close to a mound. The mound is the part that I took out, it looks like. But I watered it down, and the clay will act like cement. And then eventually it'll get down like these ones down here. Not as low, but kind of like that, where it ramps up. And then I'll be ordering some wood chips. And so, but in any event, this is the finished product. And then once the wood chips come in, I'll rake forward the gravel so that it's squared up with the cement. But I'm tired. I've been working on this on weekends. I didn't think it would take so long, but because of all this material. And you remember all those rocks and stuff that were on the bottom? Every time the pickaxe hit that, I had to work to get those out. So in any event, this is done, thank God. And the next step is to get the wood chips. So that'll be a different video. Thanks for watching. If you like it, give it the thumbs up. And if you like the video, visit the website. There's all sorts of interesting permaculture stuff and lots of cool topics. And then, of course, subscribe. Okay? Take it easy.